Top story this evening, 6 people have died and 34 have been injured in Mumbai after a part of a foot-over bridge collapsed near the CST railway station last evening. The incident happened during peak traffic hours at around 7:30 p.m. near one of the city's busiest suburban railway stations. Mumbai police have handed over the preliminary report on the mishap to the Chief Minister. The report blames Mumbai's Municipal Corporation, the BMC, for negligence and not conducting repairs on time. Meanwhile, Network 18 has accessed an audit report that was conducted 6 months ago. The audit report had certified the bridge to be in a good condition and had suggested only minor repairs. BMC Commissioner Ajoy Mehta has now sought the Vigilance Department to submit a preliminary report after an order from the Chief Minister. Yashar, reports from the site of the bridge collapse, the third foot-over bridge to crumble in just the last 18 months in the city of Mumbai.
Well, the unfortunate incident happened sometime in the evening yesterday, around 7:30 p.m. in the evening, where a part of the foot-over bridge in the CST area of Mumbai collapsed. In fact, right now we are at that very spot close to the foot-over bridge, and if I could just show you that very bridge, a part of this very foot-over bridge collapsed down, taking down the people who were using this particular bridge to get on the other side of the road at that point of time, also having its impact on the motorists who were getting to the other side of the bridge and were under that very bridge at that point of time. Of course, immediately after the incident took place, NDRF, Mumbai Police as well as the Mumbai Fire Brigade team were rushed to the spot, who got involved in all the rescue operations which went through the evening, through the night. As far as the situation today is concerned, the NDRF team was pulled out as the rescue operation came to an end. And as far as the latest reports are concerned, about 6 people have been declared dead and about 30 are seriously injured, who are being treated in various hospitals in this area, in the vicinity. Also, something which I have been picking up as far as the officials here are concerned is that at the time of the incident, the traffic signal which is just adjacent to this very foot-over bridge was on, because of which a lot of vehicular movement was halted because they were waiting for the traffic signal to move so that they can move forward, and that in some way reduced the extent of the tragedy. So of course that was something which a lot of officials have been talking about. But overall, as far as the action is concerned, Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis also visited the spot today morning. He was briefed about the entire incident. The government again has very categorically said that a structural audit of this foot-over bridge was done just about 6 months ago, and when an incident of such sort happens within a period of 6 months, of course it's bound to raise a lot of questions when it comes to the quality of that audit and so on and so forth. But as far as the action is concerned, an FIR has been registered against railway officials as well as BMC officials. The whole political blame game has begun, but of course the harsh reality remains, exposing the sorry state of the infrastructure of the city one more time.
I cannot come directly. The accident is an accident and it is to be seriously seen. I do not know the details, what was happened about the bridges, but I know one decision by the government as well as municipal corporation that all the bridges in Mumbai will go under the audit. Now the audit has been conducted. Some of the bridges have been closed by the BMC. Even the ROV at Lower Parel has been closed, you know it. Same way, what was the recommendation about this bridge? Who was the consultant? What he has said about that bridge?
स्ट्रक्चरल ऑडिट करने के बावजूद अगर इस प्रकार से ब्रिज कोलैप्स होता है तो ये सारी चीज़ों पर एक सवालिया निशान खड़ा होता है, और इसलिए इसकी एक उच्च स्तरीय जांच तो होगी, लेकिन साथ ही मैंने म्यूनिसिपल कमिश्नर को ये भी कहा है कि इसकी प्राथमिक जांच करके शाम तक इसकी प्राइमरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी जो है वो उसको फिक्स करे, क्योंकि इस प्रकार की घटनाओं में किसी को बख्शने का कोई कारण नहीं है। और निश्चित रूप से अगर ऑडिट हुआ है और उसके बावजूद ये पुलिया गिर रहा है तो इस ऑडिट के ऊपर भी एक सवालिया निशान खड़ा होता है।
इतना बड़ा सेटअप है रेलवे के पास ये सारा काम करने के लिए, ऐसे में आप सेना के जवानों को बुला करके एक बड़ा चौंकाने वाले अंदाज में एलिफिंस्टन का एक ब्रिज बना देते, बोलते देखो जी हमने ब्रिज बना दिया। ये सब दिखावा, तमाशा, ड्रामा, शोबाजी बंद करिए। सिंसियरली, गंभीरतापूर्वक जो मुंबई के लोगों की तकलीफ है उसको दूर करने में लगिए, वो नहीं कर पा रहे हैं।
blaming the officers, they keep on blaming the BMC, railway, political people, all that thing. The fact remains that even after a major disaster in the Christchurch Road bridge collapse, there were flurry of activities, inquiries were held, reports were produced, and ultimately they said all the bridges have been checked. What happened? I think somebody has to be held responsible. In the government, whether it's central government or state government, there is a clear hierarchy as to who is responsible for what activity. I mean, it is not a junior engineer or some mechanical or that thing. It is way up there.
Okay.
There has to be somebody at the top.
And there's more somber news from New Zealand. At least 49 people are confirmed dead and dozens injured after a terror attack on 2 mosques in Christchurch, New Zealand. One of the attackers has been identified as a right-wing extremist born in Australia who reportedly live-streamed the entire incident on social media. The Bangladesh cricket team, which is touring in New Zealand at present, had a narrow escape. CNBC's Matthew Taylor reports on the worst mass shooting in New Zealand's history.
Well, a shocking attack in New Zealand, one that the Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has called the nation's darkest day. Multiple casualties when it comes to this shooting that took place in 2 mosques in Christchurch. The attack happening around afternoon prayer time, just before midday local time. Now, we know that there have been 3 people arrested and a male in his late 20s has been charged with murder. Authorities around the Christchurch area say much of that city does remain in lockdown and they're urging people to avoid attending mosques today. They've also said that they found some improvised explosive devices attached to at least one of the saying that the nation's security threat level has now been raised to high from low. It's believed one of the people responsible for this crime is an Australian citizen, and we understand that that is the 28-year-old man who has been arrested. Some changes when it comes to air travel around Christchurch as well. Authorities there suspending regional turboprop services because a number of passengers can board those aircraft at smaller airports without security screening. So authorities taking the decision to ground those aircraft as a safety precaution. But that's the latest on what has transpired in New Zealand. Multiple casualties and fatalities, and also scores of people remaining injured as well. That's the latest. Back to you.
Meanwhile, New Zealand's Prime Minister called the incident a terror attack and went on to say it was one of the darkest days in the country's history.
This is a significant event, and I can tell you now this is and will be one of New Zealand's darkest days. Police, as I say, have apprehended someone. They are in custody as we speak, but I'm simply not in a position to give details around that individual, that suspect at hand. It has occurred in a place where people should have been expressing their religious freedom, where they should have been in a safe environment, and they have not been today.
All right, it's a shocking Friday indeed. But for now, let's get back home and take a quick check on the market action of the day. The Nifty and the Sensex came off their intraday highs, but still ended with gains of 0.75%. The mid-caps more or less followed suit, but Nifty Bank was the outperformer. Led by Kotak Mahindra Bank, that index gained more than 1.5% by the end of the day. Surbhi Upadhyay is here with an in-depth analysis of the day and the week's market action. Surbhi, the bulls seem to have been in control almost throughout this week.
What a phenomenal week we've had, and what a way to cap it off as well. Gains on Friday, gains through the week, though of course we saw profit taking come through in the last half an hour. But can you really blame the bulls? The Nifty is up over 3.5% for the week gone by. Mid-caps have done well as well. So yes, some amount of profit taking perhaps was only par for the course. If I talk about the gainers today, then you'll find a lot of banking names, a lot of OMC names coming back on the screen as well. Kotak Mahindra Bank, IOC, HPCL, ONGC, and this despite crude oil prices remaining at elevated levels. This pocket was very, very active. IT stocks joined the bandwagon as well, whether it was TCS or Infosys or other names like Tech Mahindra, Wipro. Most of these stocks were on the upswing. Financials, as I'm saying, have been very, very strong, and that trend continued. Many of these stocks were off the highest highest point of the day. But nonetheless, positive gains on SBI, ICICI Bank, and even something like a Bajaj Finance. So where was the problem? The profit taking was very apparent in a stock like Reliance Industries. Fell very sharply in the last half an hour, and it was in negative territory at the time of close. ITC and HUL, again, negative ticks over there. And Yes Bank also saw some money come off the table. The mid-cap market was a little somber compared to the large-cap space today. Nonetheless, we did have high flyers here. Dilip Bilkon, REC, Adani Transmission, Zensar making a move in the last hour. So plenty of excitement. On the losing end, this price hike that we've seen, cement price hike in South India, some of that has had to be rolled back. And that impacted a stock like India Cements, which was down about 4%. Dabur and Praj also saw some profit taking. But otherwise, it's been a good week and a not so bad Friday as well. Bulls in control all the way. Let's see if this momentum will continue next week.
Okay, good week and not so bad Friday indeed. So we will leave it at that. Thank you for joining in with that. But let's get to the big court story of the day. Yet another twist in the long-drawn SR Steel resolution saga. The National Company Law Appellate Tribunal has warned the Committee of Creditors not to discriminate against SR Steel's operational creditors. The Appellate Tribunal has proposed that 10% of the 42,000 crore rupee bid made by ArcelorMittal be reserved for operational creditors. Now, the Committee of Creditors were planning to give them 4%, but the court has warned them and asked for the plan to be amended. Ashmit Kumar is here with more details. Ashmit, tug of war clearly between the lenders and the NCLAT, batting for the operational creditors. What was argued in court today?
Well, what's interesting is that the Apex Court has given a formula of its own as far as division of this bid amount is concerned. We'll come to that in just a bit. First, the other big takeaway, this entire application here was at the behest of the SR promoters having moved the NCLAT in challenge to the Arcelor bid of 42,000 crore rupees. What is interesting is that the NCLAT has clearly made an observation that as far as the SR promoters fee is concerned, it is bad, if not rotten. So with those words, in a manner of speaking, at least this not taking cognizance of the SR promoters, very little time had been allocated to them. So that's as far as SR promoters and their challenge to the Arcelor bid is concerned. And nothing happening of that. No stay has been granted on the Arcelor bid. On the other side, as far as operational creditors are concerned, this is one concern that in fact had been expressed by the NCLAT. The NCLAT provided that as far as the IBC is concerned, it allows for maximization of recoverables, not just for financial creditors, but also for operational creditors, that the operational creditors, at least in this case, appear to be the oppressed lot, and that there is a need to address the anomaly here that only 4% of the entire bid amount has been allocated to them. So towards that extent, they have warned the COC that the COC should look at amending its position, amending this bid as far as the division is concerned, failing which the NCLAT will exercise its powers. On its part, the COC has severely opposed this stance of the NCLAT. The NCLAT has provided for 10% of the entire bid to be allocated for operational creditors. This came in for fierce opposition by the COC. The COC said that they are above in the pecking order, above the operational creditors, and that they cannot be treated at par. Nonetheless, the NCLAT has now deferred this case for Monday. That's when the COC as well as Arcelor will come back to a reply to this 10% formula that has been suggested by the LOC, by the NCLAT, 10% of the amount to be allocated to the operational creditors. Back to you.
Okay, Ashmit, thanks for joining in with that. So the battle between SR Steel lenders and NCLT continues. For leave to have approved the Mindtree acquisition plan, the board members have given their nod, and sources say the company may buy 24.4% stake in Mindtree for 981 rupees per share. It is expected to sign a term sheet with VG Siddhartha by the 18th of March for his entire 20.4% stake. Mukta Waria, who has been tracking this story, is here with the details. Mukta, what are you picking up from your sources?
Yes, you're right. The L&T board has approved the acquisition of the Mindtree stake, and L&T is likely to pick up 24.4% stake in Mindtree at rupees 981 per share. Now, we understand the term sheet with VG Siddhartha will be signed as early as Monday, and our sources were telling us that this deal was set to be closed today, but some technicalities have pushed it to early next week. And VG Siddhartha will be selling his entire 20.4% stake that he holds along with his CCD entities. But, there are some other minority shareholders which will also be selling to to L&T, which include Mansa Capital, a shareholder named Rekha Shah, and of course L&T MF, which holds about 1.08%. So these shareholders will also be selling either entire or part of their stake to L&T, and the total stake will come up to about 24.4% is what we understand. And our sources are also telling us that L&T is looking to hike its stake in Mindtree to 51% through a voluntary open offer. So that's what we have today, and this is an exclusive. So finally, after months of speculation, this deal is set to be signed by Monday.
Okay, after months of speculation, that deal is likely to go through. Very quickly, take a look at the flashes on your screen. Mindtree is going to be considering a buyback on the 20th of March. This shouldn't change the math of the transaction since the L&T deal is with a buyer of Vijay Siddhartha's stake. But of course, that is something to watch out for. The board is going to be meeting anyways on the 20th of March. If the deal is announced on 18th, we could expect some kind of a consideration by the board of this deal and some clarity on the way forward. We'll know on Monday. Let's get an exclusive story now. The tyre industry is under the GST scanner. Sources tell us that the GST intelligence wing is at this point in time conducting pan-India raids at facilities of tyre manufacturers and dealers. This as the intelligence wing suspects alleged tax evasion on account of differential rates. Timothy Jaipuria is here with the details. Timothy, what are the triggers behind these raids and what are the big tyre manufacturers that are at this point in time under the scanner?
Well, that's right. What we understand from sources is the fact that GST Intelligence Wing has conducted pan-India raids on tyre industry. To be precise, the raids were conducted at the facilities of both manufacturers and dealers. And GST Intelligence Wing is suspecting that tax evasion has been made. However, this is on account of few aspects. That is differential rates which are applicable right now on tyres, tubes and flaps. Also, non-payment of taxes is also one issue, plus excess claim of input credit, and there is also an impact of the mismatch of returns and invoices. On account of these four parameters is what these raids were conducted pan-India. Some of the major companies where the raids have been conducted also includes JK Tyres, Apollo Tyres, MRF and CEAT. However, when CNBC reached out to them for a query, they did not respond to our queries. But let me remind our viewers that GST today as on date is 28% on tyres, and it was reduced from 28% to 18% on tubes and flaps. Also, government officials, while confirming this news, said that GST Intelligence Wing is currently investigating the matter. Some companies have already made part payment of the dues, but total demand is likely to be identified in a month or so. So that means the entire case is under detailed investigation. They don't want to rush in with a particular amount of demand, but yes, there is a case which needs to be followed. Back to you.
Okay, Timothy, thanks for that. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has hit back at the opposition for calling the UNSC setback on Masood Azhar a diplomatic failure. In a series of tweets, Swaraj said that while India was fighting this battle alone in 2009, today it has the support of 14 Security Council members. Meanwhile, in a boost for India's campaign against France has decided to sanction Masood Azhar and says it will push the European Union to ban the Jaish chief. Speaking of the opposition, Rahul Gandhi has accused Prime Minister Narendra Modi of trying to stop the truth about his failure on the jobs front from becoming public. This comes a day after 108 economists and social scientists raised concerns over political interference in economic data. Tagging a media report, the Congress president tweeted, and I quote, "No more trying to stop the truth about his criminal failure on employment from becoming public," end of quote. Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi, who is on a campaign trail in Chhattisgarh, made three important bold promises in order to revive the country's healthcare system. He said that the Congress would allocate 3% of India's GDP towards government expenditure on healthcare if it came to power. Further, the Congress president promised to enact a Right to Healthcare Act that would guarantee every citizen the right to healthcare services, including free diagnostics and medicines through a network of public hospitals. Moreover, Rahul Gandhi promised to increase the number of doctors by establishing more medical colleges and providing more scholarships and loans to medical students. With that, it's time to wrap up this edition of After the Bell. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV18. Taking Stock will take you through all the market action of the week and get you trade ready for next week on the other side.